come with and call your next witness.
Justin Aylaian.
Okay.
Step.
Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause now hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Get up and you can have a seat. Put yourself right up to that mic.
Sir, in a loud, clear voice, can you please introduce yourself? Spell your first name and your last name.
My name is Justin Aylaian, Justin, last name Aylaian.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 32,
And what town do you live in?
still Massachusetts.
Did you grow up there?
I did, yes.
Okay. And what schools did you go to there?
I went to Neshoba Regional for high school. That's a tri-town, so it's still Bolton and Lancaster. That's where I attended for grades 9 through 12.
What did you do after high school?
After high school, I immediately went to the University of New Hampshire, where I obtained a bachelor's in business management.
After you graduated from UNH, what did you do?
After UNH, I did a cross-country road trip where I traveled the southwest U.S., and I got a job as a wilderness instructor at a therapy camp in southern Utah.
And what do you mean by a therapy camp?
I worked as a lead counselor for some youth between the ages of roughly 15 to 18, and there were some early adults as well that were above 18. And they came to this camp for a variety of different problems, whether it was drug issues, whether it was anger issues, whether they had problems at home. They would come to this camp and we would help build confidence. We would give them coping mechanisms. We would do that in a wilderness setting where we would teach them primitive living skills. And we would assist them in their transition, going back to their families or whatever they had after.
At some point, did you make your way back east?
I did, yes. I was out there for roughly 8 months, and I shortly came back after.
Okay. What did you do when you came back?
When I came back, shortly thereafter, in the fall of 2017, I enlisted in the United States Army.
Okay. Did you go to boot camp?
I did, yes. I attended boot camp in Fort Benning, Georgia. I enlisted as an infantry. So I attended boot camp in Fort Benning, Georgia. Immediately after boot camp and advanced infantry training, I went to airborne school, which was also at Fort Benning. Right after I graduated from airborne school, I was moved to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and that's where I spent the rest of my tenure in the Army.
Okay. How long was that?
Altogether, I attempted to try to become a Green Beret, where I went to try to go for Special Forces. I went to, it's called SOPC, which is Special Operations Prep Course, prior to selection. And during that training, I was severely injured. I ended up hurting some ligaments and tendons and needed reconstructive surgery on my tendons. So I ended up shortly getting out of the military after that with an honorable discharge in the I believe winter of 2019.
So then, did you come back up here?
I did, yes. I returned back to Massachusetts shortly thereafter. After that, I worked several different jobs. I ended up at Fidelity for a while. I worked in their 401k department. And then shortly thereafter, I started going through civil service and applying to jobs to become a firefighter.
Okay. Did you eventually get one?
I did, yes. I got on at North Andover Fire Department in August of 2021. It was at that point I also went back for my fire science degree at Anna Maria College, which was obtained roughly a year and a half ago. I got my bachelor's degree in fire science.
So what is your role in the North Andover Fire Department?
I'm a firefighter EMT with the North Andover Fire Department. My job is to protect life and property.
When you say an EMT, do you work as a firefighter full-time or an EMT, or how does it work there?
With the rotation that we have, the newest 24 members on the fire department, they're in charge of running the ambulance. So on my shift, what we do is we work 2 weeks on the ambulance, and then that third week rotating off, we either go on the engine or the ladder truck.
Do you know a person by the name of Kelsey Fitzsimmons?
I do, yes.
How and when did you first meet her?
It was September of 2023. She had reached out to me on Facebook. She had seen a picture of me posted on the North Andover Fire Department page. She was recently going to be getting hired as a North Andover police officer, and she reached out to me on Facebook.
Fair to say you developed a relationship with her?
We did very quickly, yes.
Okay. At some point, did it become more than casual?
Yep, it became more than casual very quickly. Both of us developed feelings very quickly, and that developed into a relationship very quickly as well. And it was about roughly 6 months after that we had initially met that that Kelsey and I had moved in together.
And where did you move in?
She had owned a home at 125 Phillips Brooks in North Andover. My lease had ended that May of 2024, and at that point we decided that we were going to live together, and I wasn't going to renew my current lease that I had.
And I'm sorry, remind me, were you on the fire department? You were on the fire department.
I was, yes.
So were you living in North Andover at the time?
I was living in North Andover, yes.
At some point, you guys were living together. You had a baby?
That is correct.
Okay. And when was a boy or a girl?
Boy.
Okay. How old now?
He is 13 months old.
Okay. And what's his date of birth?
2/16/2025.
So he was born while you were living together at 125 Phillips Brook?
Yes.
At some point, and I'm going to turn your attention to the weekend of July 28th, 29th, going into Monday the 30th, okay?
Okay.
Did your relationship become strained in any way? Just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result of that, did you decide to do something on June 30th, that Monday?
Yes, I ended up obtaining a restraining order.
Okay. Now I'm going to just step back for a second, and we're going to talk about that day in particular, okay?
Okay.
At some point, were you communicating with the defendant at all?
Yes.
How so?
It started in the morning. It was both text and phone calls that we were going back and forth with each other. I had requested to see my son. I wanted to make sure that he was okay. She had sent many disturbing messages back and forth to me.
Sustained.
Where were you on the 30th, on that Monday? Were you living at 125 Phillips Brook?
That was my permanent legal residence, but I was at my parents' house that day.
Okay. Had you gone, when was the last time you had been there?
It would have been June 27th, I believe, the day before our planned bachelor.
Okay. At any point, did you go back there to retrieve some items, guns, or anything like that?
Yes, the day prior, I had gone to obtain. I knew that I needed to pick up my firearms. I had feared for my son, and I thought that his life was in danger and grave risk.
Sustained.
And I object to any further questioning on this relative on 403 grounds and on relevance grounds to whether Ms. Fitzsimmons assaulted a policeman in a bedroom where it was just the two of them.
I'm just going to take the objections one at a time. That objection sustained, I will strike.
You own firearms.
Yes, sir.
How many?
Roughly 9.
Okay. And where were they kept in the home?
They were kept upstairs in the closet. There was a large rifle safe. Several of them were kept in there. And then I had one firearm that I would keep in our bedroom that was in a green chest directly. If you were to walk into the bedroom, it was on the left side in the green chest, directly next to the door frame, locked up in my green safe.
Okay. So if you walk into your home through the door,
Yes.
the front door, the stairs to upstairs, fair to say, are almost right in front of you?
Correct.
Okay. Now, as you walk up the stairs, there are 2 rooms at the top.
Yes.
There's a landing and 2 rooms at the top, correct?
Yes.
The safe that you had described, the green safe, which way would you go to get to the green safe?
You would take a right into the bedroom, and then the first foot that you would step into the bedroom, it was directly on your left, on the ground.
That was a bad question. What color is the safe, the rifle safe?
The rifle safe was black.
Black. Okay. I want to talk about that first. I apologize. Now, where was that?
If you were to go up the stairs and you were on the landing, you would take a left. You would go into that room right there, and then it was in that closet directly on the left side of the room.
Okay. And it's a rifle safe, meaning it has a lock?
Yes.
What kind of lock?
I believe it was a keypad lock.
Do you know if the defendant had any firearms?
Yes.
How many?
I couldn't be exact. She just got her license to carry returned to her. I don't know the exact number of firearms that were returned to her.
Okay. What kind were they?
Several handguns.
Handguns? Okay. When you went on the 29th to retrieve your handguns, where did you go?
I went directly upstairs, and I went into that gun safe, the rifle safe that was on the left side of the landing, and I retrieved my firearms from there first.
Okay. And then you talked about a green safe.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that. You walk up the stairs, the landing is there, you go to the right, which is the bedroom, correct?
Correct.
The other room, is that the one with the crib in it?
Correct.
Okay. Now, if you go right to your left, you had described on the floor, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You had one gun in there?
Yes.
Did you see any other guns in there when you opened that?
No, I did not.
So are we not now talking about the green safe?
Yes.
Okay.
Have a second.
Sure.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as exhibit number 40 first, okay?
Okay.
Can you see that screen?
I do, yes.
Recognize what that is.
Yes.
So describe where the photo taker, the picture taker, would be standing in that home.
They'd be standing on the landing as immediately as you go up to the stairs to the second floor in between the 2 rooms.
Okay, and that's the one on the left that we had been describing,
Yes.
correct? I'm going to show you what's been previously marked.
Hold on. The one on the left, meaning the room on the left?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 45. Can you see that?
Yes.
Do you recognize what that is?
I do, yes.
What is it?
That is the nursery. That's the closet with my clothes in it, and behind my clothes is the black rifle safe.
Okay. And that is, when you're standing on the landing, that is the room to the left, and the closet in that room is where the rifle safe is?
Correct.
And I'm sorry if I asked this already. Did you see any of the defendant's guns in that rifle safe?
Yes.
How many? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly. I believe there was 2, but I don't remember the exact amount.
Now, bear with me. I'm going to take it step by step. I'm going to show you exhibit number 49. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, that is taken from the landing going up to the second floor on the right side that's facing our bedroom with my green safe on the floor.
Okay, so the picture taker is on the landing, correct?
Correct.
The stairs are pretty much behind them.
Directly behind.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 51. Do you recognize that room, first of all?
Yes, I recognize the room.
And that's the same room we were just talking about?
Yes.
The green safe is the box in the left corner of the picture?
Yes, and on the ground, that the large chest, the box, yes.
Okay, so this is the safe you were talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know what that box is?
I do not know.
Have you seen that box before?
I may have, but I don't remember seeing it.
When you went on the 29th and retrieved your gun out of that safe, and you didn't see any of the defendant's guns in that safe, correct?
I don't believe so, sir.
Do you remember that box being on top?
That box was not there, sir.
Now I'm going to turn your attention, now that we're on the 29th, I'm going to turn your attention to the 30th. You had stated that you had been calling and texting the defendant throughout that day, correct?
Yes.
Were there any plans attempted to be made by anyone?
She had made several attempts to try to get me to meet her at the Common via text message. She had reached out and said, "Can we meet the Common at 2 p.m.?" My initial response back to that was, "For what?" She then again tried to get me to reason with me to meet me at the Common again. And at that point I said I had no gas, there was no way for me to get there. And she tried to meet up at several points, and I told her that I was not comfortable. I did not feel comfortable being alone with you. I wanted to make sure my son was okay, and I feared that his life was in danger.
Sustained. Next question.
Right, non-responsible.
Yes, I will.
Where were you when the texting back and forth was happening?
I believe I was at my parents' house in Stowe.
Okay. At some point, did you make your way to North Andover?
I did, yes.
Why?
I felt that my son's life was in grave danger and that imminent harm may come to him in the hands of Kelsey.
Okay. So as a result of that...
Hold on, there's an objection. Overruled just as the state of mind, not the truth.
So where did you go?
I went to my friend Hunter Hassam's house. He was renting an apartment in North Andover at the time.
Did you call anybody to meet you there?
I don't know if I had made the calls or they had called me, but I had called my sister Courtney. I told her that I was going to North Andover. I had feared for my son, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had called her, and I was in contact with Kelsey's maid of honor, Katrina, and her bridesmaid, Michelle.
So Katrina, Michelle, Courtney, Hunter, and you?
Yes, sir.
Are you all in Hunter's house right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Without saying what was said between was there anybody else there? Because I have 5.
I believe Hunter's girlfriend at the time, she was there as well. I believe she was present.
Okay. Now, were you communicating when you were there with the defendant at all?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
There were text messages that were being exchanged just over Kaden, our son, and just general messages back and forth.
Okay. Did you ever agree to go meet her at the park?
No, sir.
Okay. At some point, did you learn through the text messages anyway that she knew you were at Hunter's?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about that, please?
All of us were at Hunter's. We were all discussing the events that had occurred and what we could do to ensure Kaden's safety, which is our son, but also Kelsey and everyone else around. At one point, Kelsey had messaged my phone.
Objection, Your Honor, non-responsive. I'm sorry. To the extent, Judge, that the questions are open-ended, producing narrative answer, I object. And, there's been all sorts of objections sustained about the answer. So I would ask the court to maybe direct the Commonwealth to make more specific questions.
So the objection's overruled. If you could just try to just answer the question to the best of your ability, all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, next question.
Thank you. Did she, meaning the defendant, say something to you to indicate that she knew you were at Hunter's? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, what did she say?
I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it was, what are you doing? Something along the lines of, what are you doing at Hunter's? What is happening? Why are you with my friends? Something along those lines.
Okay. Now, without getting into the conversation that you had with your friends and with your sister, was a decision made for you to go somewhere to do something?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that?
To go to Lawrence to obtain a restraining order attached with temporary custody of Kaden.
Okay. And did you do that?
Yes.
Where did you go? Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact, it was family probate court, I believe it was, but I'm not 100% sure.
And who did you go with?
I went with my sister Courtney.
Okay. Now, did you fill out paperwork while you were there?
I did, yes.
Did anyone assist you in filling that out?
Yes. My sister helped me, and then there was also someone with the court system. I don't know who the name was, but they assisted as well.
Fair to say you went in front of a judge, an order was issued, and then you left the building, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you go when you left the building?
I immediately went to the North Andover Police Department.
Okay. When you got there, did you have a conversation, without saying what was said, with some of the police personnel there?
Yes.
Did you give them anything?
I believe I handed them the restraining order, and they said that it was already faxed to them.
Okay. At some point, did they leave?
They did, yes.
And what did you do?
I waited at the police station while they went to the Kelsey Fitzsimmons home.
Okay. And at some point, did you get a call?
I did, yes.
From who?
I believe it was from Officer Daly. He had called to inform me to come to the residence and get custody of my son.
So, did you go?
I did, yes.
Did you go with anybody else?
My sister and I, we both went to the house. We took two separate cars.
Did you get there at the same time?
Yes.
What happened when you got there?
At that point, we both walked into the house. Officer Daly was downstairs. Two officers were upstairs. And Kelsey's mother was holding the baby in the living room. At that point, I obtained Kaden from her mother. And then we initially started to put him in a car seat. And then once he started crying, we figured it might be best, my sister and I, to get him ready for transport, to bring him back to Stowe outside.
Okay, so who carried Kaden out?
My sister Courtney did.
And what did you do?
I asked if I could obtain some clothes while I was there. I just needed something so I could live day to day, as I had no clothes or any of my son's
Is this the
belongings.
first time you went out, or did you go back in the house a second time, if you remember?
This was the first. I went out the first time, and then I came back in.
Okay, so the first time you went out, Courtney went out with Kaden.
Yes.
What did you take, if you remember?
I believe I had the car seat in my hand.
Okay. At some point, you came back,
Yes.
and you asked permission to do something?
Yes, I asked permission to get some clothes and a few clothes for Kaden and some of his bottles and formula.
Okay, so where did you go?
I went down to the basement that was under construction at the time. There was no lights on, so I believe I had my camera, my phone out with the light on it, and I was searching for a suitcase that I had down there just to throw some clothes in.
At some point, was your attention drawn to something?
Yes.
What happened?
I immediately heard an officer's commands. I heard an officer scream out, "Stop, don't do it." At that point, I had heard several gunshots ring out, and I heard Kelsey's mother screaming.
What did you do then?
At that point, I immediately ran through the garage, which was connected just to the basement. There was no wall there. Again, we're putting up a wall, so I ran straight through there. I fumbled with the lock for a second to get it open, as there was no light down there. As I got it open, I threw the door open, and I ran around the side of the house, screaming for my sister to run.
And so where did you go? Did you see your sister?
I believe I saw her briefly. I did see her running down past the school that was adjacent to our property.
With Kaden?
Correct, yes.
So what did you do?
At that point, as I saw my sister run, I knew that we needed a vehicle for transportation to get out of there, to get out of the area as fast as possible. Fearing for my son's life, for my sister's life.
Sustain, just what you did.
I got into my vehicle. I believe I had made eye contact very briefly with Officer Houston, who was grabbing his medical bag out of his patrol vehicle. I got into my truck, and I immediately pulled a U-turn and drove where I saw my sister running from. Once I got to the other end of the school, I had stopped my vehicle, and at that point I didn't see which direction my sister had gone. So I had stood outside my car yelling her name repeatedly. I wasn't sure where she was or if she was okay. And then
At some point, did she appear?
she did appear. She came running out behind another house across the way, and she came running over towards me.
And what happened when she got to you?
She got in the vehicle, and then we quickly drove down the road to get away towards Mass Ave in North Andover.
And where did you eventually go?
We eventually made our way back to Stowe, Massachusetts, my parents' residence.
Thank you. I'll get just that 1 second.
Yes.
Were the guns that you and the defendant had, were they ever kept in the basement?
No,
Is there a gun safe in the basement?
there was never a gun safe in the basement.
Did you have a way of remotely accessing the surveillance cameras?
I could look at them.
Did you before you went over?
Remotely accessing them, I was able to view them, yes.
Okay, when you did you see the defendant's car in the driveway?
No.
Okay, is that where she usually parked?
Yes, always.
Okay, and when I asked you that question, what time frame were we talking about?
During the day, what time?
Yeah,
It must have been roughly 5 o'clock, 5 p.m.
thank you. I had nothing else.
Okay, cross-examination?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So a lot of talk about gun safes. The safe that you mentioned with your rifles in it, that was in the baby's room, correct?
Correct, yes.
And that's the room as you go up the stairs to the left, you hit the landing, you go make a left, you're in the baby's room, correct?
Correct.
And then you visited the house on the 29th to retrieve your guns, right?
Yes.
And it's fair to say that you spent about 60 seconds with the baby.
I would say that's not true.
Kelsey had to tell you, do you want to see your baby? Do you want to hold your baby? And you held your baby for about a minute. Isn't that right?
I was at the property for roughly 30 minutes.
Answer my question.
Okay.
Is that true?
Yes.
So, with respect to the gun safe in the bedroom to the right, up until then that was your and Kelsey's bedroom, correct?
Correct, yes.
And there was a green safe in that bedroom, right?
Yes, sir.
And on the 29th, you went to that bedroom and you retrieved some of your firearms from that green safe, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, that was your grandfather's safe, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And you wanted to take that with you, didn't you?
I did, yes, sir.
And you took Kelsey's guns out of that safe and you put them on the bed so that you could take only your guns and your grandfather's safe. Isn't that correct?
I did not take the gun safe, sir.
Isn't that what your intention was until Kelsey asked you not to?
I did leave the gun safe, yes, sir.
You left it because Kelsey asked you to leave it because she needed a place to safely keep her guns, right?
I don't know if that was her intention, sir.
So let's just go back a minute. You said that you went into that safe, you didn't see any other guns, you took your guns, and you left. Isn't it true that you took Kelsey's guns, which you did see in the safe, you put them on the bed, and you tried to take the safe?
I do not remember if I took any of her guns out of the safe, sir. I don't remember seeing any of her firearms in that green safe. I only remember seeing them in the black statement.
So, I mean, you were very interested in getting your stuff out of that house on a couple occasions. This is your chance to get your grandfather's gun safe out of there, and it's your testimony that you just decided to leave it?
The only priority was removing my firearms. That was secondary because it was holding my safe, and it meant a safe transport way to move that firearm out of the house in a secure manner.
And when you left Kelsey with her firearms, and you took yours and you went back to Stowe with your father, correct?
Yes, sir, I took my firearms.
Now, you said you were, just want to get it right. You said that you work at the North Andover Fire Department, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you work there presently?
Yes, sir.
Are you on the schedule?
No, sir.
Why not? He opened the door.
I'm sorry, objection? Relevancy? Yes. Yeah, I'll hear you at sidebar. Overruled subject to what I discussed at sidebar.
Sir, you're not on the schedule and you're not presently able to work for that department, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And the reason you were placed on suspension or administrative leave, whatever you call it, is because you have been caught on video many, many times using drugs that are in violation of your department and the town policy, correct?
Allegations were placed against me, and the town has a responsibility to do their due diligence and investigate that matter.
So that's a yes?
Yes, sir.
When did that go into place?
I don't have the exact date, but roughly a week or two ago.
Do you know the duration of this suspension or whatever you want to call it?
Sustained.
Oh, sorry.
Let's move on, Mr. Bradl.
Sure. Nothing further, thank you.
Read you out? No, thank you. Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
stepped down. And Commonwealth can call its next witness.
Patrick Noonan.